Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another edition of Broken Not Shattered. This particular edition is a very special one to me because it is actually Women's Day. And to all the women out there in the world who are doing great things, the mothers, the sisters, the aunts, female colleagues, wherever you are, female politicians, those in the medical field, whatever field you find yourself, the nannies, everybody that's a female, we just want to say happy Women's Day. And thank God we have a female and a very powerful one as our guest today. And she is no one else but someone I know well enough to be our grand guest this afternoon, Miss Vivian Birchall. How do you pronounce the last name? It's Birchall.
Birchall, and it's an acquired name, so
it's Birchall. I've been pronouncing it Birchall. Okay, so it's Birchall. Vivian Birchall. Vivian, hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I can thank you so much for inviting me to your show.
Thank you. I know about you because of the work we do with AFRAC, but I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience today.
Again, thank you. It's exciting to be here for Women's Day or to commemorate Women's Day. And kudos to you for recognizing the women and to the women out there. Hey, shout out to all of you for the amazing work you do. I'm Vivian Kopsinja Birchall, born and raised in Uganda. My biggest title really is mother, and I'm a mother of 3 girls. So 2 are mine biologically, but 1 was a gift that I acquired when I got married. So I have 3 girls, and it's always great to advocate for women and girls because I have a vested interest in that. So my background is health and medicine, health communication, and I will be talking more about that, but I think I'll keep it to that for now.
Okay, so today's topic is overcoming barriers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that women generally have done quite a bit in working on different barriers, whether it's in the workplace, at home, even the social gatherings and everything else. You guys have been not just breaking ceilings now, you're smashing them. And I have girls all over the place, so I'm so happy to be one of your biggest advocates, when it comes to what women have actually accomplished globally and also locally. Let's start with global health, which is an area of expertise, Harvard trained. Let's plug this in. Everybody talks about global health. As an expert in this field, what does global health really mean?
And that is an important question, Ike. Because when we think of global health, the first thing that comes to mind oftentimes is the big, organizations, WHO and, Max Foundation, Bill Gates, because that kind of defines the atmosphere or the parameters for global health. But really, what is global health? The important question you asked. To me, it is every one of us, because we consist of the globe. The globe consists of all of us.
Yes, all of us. Yes, correct.
Individually and collectively.
Right.
So to me, global health is understanding the dynamics of the population in the world, the different demographics, the biosocial, what we call the biosocial factors that limit people to access to health, and then understanding those enough to come up with solutions. And to me, these solutions should not come from, the more powerful nations, given to the poorer nations. There should be solutions designed together in partnership with the communities and societies that they are being designed for. So to me, that is global health, understanding the hindrances to access to health so that people don't die because of the zip code they were born in.
Wow.
But designing those solutions with the people for whom they're being designed for.
Wow, wonderful. So, what made you go into global health? What inspired you to take that step to go into global health?
A few factors. So a few years ago, I was invited to be a speaker at a global health conference at Harvard. And my topic was the contribution of indigenous knowledge or plant-based medicine in healthcare in communities in Africa, where the access to modern medicine is very limited. But during that, that conference, what I witnessed was so many African diaspora who are leading initiatives in oncology, in research, in big things in the United States, in big institutions. But stories were really not told. Or, it was a shock for me because we don't usually associate the advancement to our diaspora. So I gained a lot of interest in what they were doing. And through that, I started also getting more involved with Harvard and eventually started, getting my education there. But also during COVID, what sealed this is, there was a lot of triage of, this was a new disease, people didn't understand it. And then I went to I live in a town that has good healthcare. And they asked me if I had a red rash on my skin as part of triage. And I looked at the nurse and I said, it can never present red on my skin. So that, we want to talk about global health is understanding the demographics in your society. This is in Massachusetts. So, but I said it in a way that she wouldn't feel so bad because I realized her education was probably limited and she didn't realize that there were different dermatological presentations of rashes on different skin colors. So that sealed it for me. I authored an op-ed in the Harvard Crimson that medicine cannot remain colorblind. But even during that time, I also researched, what was going on with CDC, WHO, and guess what? They had, and that time Blacks were dying, and it had things like bluish purple lips, but there was no comparison to what that would look like on different skin tones. So that's how it sealed for me, and I continued being a part of these conversations.
Wow.
And I created Healthcare Black.
So just out of curiosity, if a Black person has a rash, what color will it be? Purple?
Good question. Have you had? I won't put you on the spot to ask whether you've had a rash before, but
I have had a rash before. Why would
that's a great important question for all of us to think about. The images we see in textbooks and even online. Oftentimes, when you search for rashes on Black skin, they show you herpes, HIV-related rashes. Oh. And that which again becomes a disparity because they're associating skin rashes on Black skin to highly infectious diseases like HIV, which have moral attachment to them in some circles. So there is a lot to unpack here, but it's women's.
But on a serious note, though, what color would it be if a Black person has rash? Wouldn't it be red? It can't be red.
No. How would it be red? It cannot present as red on your skin.
Oh.
Or my skin.
I need to check that out. Well, next time I see someone that says I have a rash, I'll look at it and see what color could that be. But yeah, I see what you're saying. That's why I said red rash, because that would definitely show red on the skin of a Caucasian or something.
Exactly.
Wow. There's a lot to be learned in that field, and I know that it's always been a big challenge because of what goes on in the less privileged countries in the world or continents in the world. And the disparity when it comes to healthcare is major.
Right. And then we're talking about Women's Month, right? So there's research now showing that, for example, I've been in the cancer world or exposed to the cancer world, for a bit now. And there are different biomarkers for women for breast cancer in women of African, who are African diaspora, recent diaspora, than Black women who are African Americans here.
Wow. Why? And why is that the case? So you're saying women who are African and women who are African American, there's a disparity right there too?
In the biomarkers for breast cancer. So again, this is research that is ongoing, but imagine the previous years where we didn't have that. And, I spoke to one of the professors looking into this research at Northeastern. He's from Gabon. His focus is precision medicine. But, this is just to show you that even as we're celebrating Women's Month, International Women's Month, it's important to identify the disparities in, first of all, not just access to healthcare, but access to the right diagnosis
Correct. The right diagnosis.
And that is global health.
Do you think global health can actually be global? Do you really think it can be global?
That's a big question, but
I mean, because when they talk about global health, is it really can it be truly global without addressing those structural inequalities?
yes, it can if it's intentional. And this comes down to the collaboration. You talked about, how do we collaborate? How do we work together? And that comes with, first of all, creating a level of partnership between the people who have the resources and those who don't have the resources to design solutions that actually address the challenges I hate to use the cliche word global South and global North, but just for the context of our viewers, yes, it's possible if the intent is designed the intent is designed for that global nature to happen.
All right, we're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll continue. And welcome back after that short break. Thanks again, Vivian, for actually educating us on the challenges that are out there when it comes to global health. So the question that I'm getting from folks as we are talking is, what can be done? What can be done to narrow those gaps?
I'll start in the context of, again, Women's Day, since it's why I was invited. Mm-hmm. First is recognize, as a woman, I see being a woman is a privilege. And I say that because I think when God was designing women, he's like, you are uniquely designed to not only lift the burdens of society in a nurturing way, but also to provide life and bring life and to bring, a light in the world. But when we look at in the context of healthcare, the demographic that is most impacted by health, by bad health or poor health, is the women. Because at the end of the day, when everyone is sick at home, even including the mother, it's the mother to take care of everyone.
Wow.
If you're looking at if a child is stranded or they don't have money for healthcare, many times, like in struggling communities, the man will kind of give up. The woman will go and sell her whatever it is.
A jewelry, whatever she has. Yeah, that's true. You're so right about that.
Get their child the healthcare that they need. When people are hungry in the community, hunger is a healthcare issue. Guess who? It will be the woman to cook and distribute food. Right. So when I look at global health, I'm not negating the men's health. I'm just saying that if we fail to protect or to provide proper healthcare globally, it is the woman who suffers the most. And then when it comes to disparities in diseases and the relationship with the economy, you find that, for example, women's health products, by design that we are women, are expensive. Whether they're menstrual products.
I thought it was the other way around.
Oh gosh, no. You find menstrual products are expensive. Even things that are not for medical reasons, like say a deodorant. Go to the shelf and look at a women's deodorant and a male's deodorant. Only because the design is pink, I like to call it the pink tax, like many people call it.
Oh, wow.
You find that things for women are more expensive for men, but functionally, probably not. And sometimes the quality is even better for the men. So I'm one of the people who sometimes goes to the men's shelves to look for products.
Are you serious? Are you serious? I actually thought it was the other way around. I thought that, because there were more women out there than men, so there's mass production when it comes to stuff that women can buy, and so products are going to be cheaper. Unlike when it comes to what men buy, like a woman will buy 5 deodorants in maybe 1 year. A man might just buy it twice, and so because of that, they make our own a little bit higher. But this is interesting information that you just gave us now.
And then if I pivot back to health, you find that society has set standards for us women. We have to look good, we have to do all that, and the pressure forces we the women to kind of keep up. And because of that, the corporate world is like, yeah, we're going to target it, so you find like I don't know what the PG for this talk is. For example, one of the things that that women struggle with is sexuality, so you find so many products that are false products on the market targeting women, tightening, this and that, order.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with you on that one. I think it's the other way around. It's the guys that have problems.
Go anywhere. And then you have the pseudo-scientists or pseudo-doctors who are herbalists. And because of that, we are having a conflict between real healthcare access and pseudoscience. And that is affecting women and girls. Yes, it affects men, but it affects women and girls. And I'm only narrowing it down to that because of the theme, Women's Day. So, and we're having challenges, say, even with the, we'll talk about the context of cancer, which I'm very familiar with. We have the highest two cancers affecting women on the continent of Africa are breast cancer and cervical cancer. Guess what parts they affect? The cervix affects the female reproductive organ. The breast cancer affects the breasts that nurture children. Yeah. And those are the ones that are killing women. And guess what? We are looking at it as women's diseases instead of a family disease. And I say that because, one, cervical cancer is sexually transmitted. But because of the human papilloma virus, it's sexually transmitted.
Oh, so a man can get it just by being
with man transmits it.
Okay, really?
But the society doesn't know, and the burden has been put on the woman. And some of the symptoms are heavy bleeding. So, and some of the women will just address heavy bleeding without even knowing that it's cervical cancer because they think it's just an abnormal bleeding. So it's when we talk about global health, it's understanding all these layers of issues and loops that women have to kind of overcome to get proper access to health. That involves, integrating everyone in the society. Men are huge stakeholders in women's health. So until we start looking at it that way, we're going to continue having these disparities and losing a very key demographic to this world.
Wow. When I asked my staff to follow up on you and see if we could have you come on, I didn't know that I was going to be informed with this wealth of knowledge. I always knew you're a very intelligent and very bright woman, but I didn't know that there's little things that I thought that I pretty much understood that you're teaching actually right now. And I'm wondering, wow, never thought about it like that. And I guarantee you there are 1,001 men, 101 men out there listening to this conversation who are going to be saying the same thing. Thank you so much, Vivian, for the wealth of knowledge you're sharing at this particular podcast. It's very insightful for me personally, and I think it's going to see. On an average Sunday, we have about 1,000 people, over 1,000 people globally watching us live, and then folks come back to watch us later on. So this is very. I think I've made the right choice this time.
No, it's an honor being here and speaking with you. Thank you.
Let's. I have a question here on global health, but let me let's move away from global health for a second. And then we'll come back to it. So it's Women's Day. What are the biggest barriers? I was going to say, what are the biggest barriers most women face? But I don't want to talk about generally. I want to talk about you. As a woman, what are the biggest barriers you have faced in recent times?
They vary in nature. The first is being an immigrant to the United States. That alone is, there is the whole, experience that everyone who is an immigrant faces. But then when you add the layer of being a woman is that you're starting a family in a foreign land with foreign education and want to have a career. That has been quite a challenge. I speak for many women who are going through this, that it kind of questions, your loyalty to either your children. You question yourself, like, am I making the right choices? And especially like if you did not have all your education before you had children, then you start having to debate. I had that internal debate to say, should I ignore my children and go back to school? And having to go to school with that guilt of my baby's at home today, I did not cook. It's a real struggle. And then just one of the experiences I had, I ran for political office here in the United States, Massachusetts.
I was getting there, but go ahead.
It was crazy because the area that I ran in, I had just lived only 5 years. So it was my first home on US mainland, 5 years into it. And I'm like, I'm running to be your leader. So that also opened up new challenges to me. First of all, being a woman, you have to be like 100 times better than a mediocre man just to even be listened to. So I decided that I will be a model for my children because I have girls, remember. So having to keep that in the back of my mind, that I'm not doing this for just me, but to model for my children and other girls out there that it can be done. It's not easy. So there is no sugarcoating it, but it can be done. And so those are the constant challenges like I have to face, to keep reminding myself that it's okay for it to not be easy because that's the society. But how can you build collaborations? How can you build partnerships? How can you build networks to keep you going even at the lowest moment? But also, most importantly, is to stay grounded in family and in God, because everything else can fall apart, but you cannot let your kids, like I cannot let my kids down. And, I always trust in God.
Let's mess around a bit with the political side of it.
Right? I was trying not to go too deep in that.
I know you're trying to avoid that. Do you think America is ready for the female president?
Sorry, I don't think so.
Why do you say so?
Unapologetically, I did canvas for Kamala, and because I believe she had all the skill sets, the skills that this country needed, or a head of state needed to run this country. I truly believed in her abilities. But to see her being rejected for what? Because she wasn't warm enough, or because and this is some of the stereotypes that we women, have to go through, is how can you show, your seriousness without being called bossy? How can you set boundaries without being called mean? And how do you? She was highly educated, highly capable she showed her capabilities as a vice president. And so, and the same with Hillary Clinton. She had also shown, she had all the qualifications she needed to run this. But look what happened. The rejection was based on assumptions, based on things that are made up. And here, look at where we are. But I don't think the country is ready for our women yet.
All right. So let me take it out of America and take it back to your local country. Do you think that you can ever see a female run in Uganda?
Not anytime soon.
I'll leave that question alone.
But that was a trick question because somebody, the government could say, hey, why did you say that? I think that's not because the environment is not there for them to run. It's that the electorate is still, we live in a society that is patriarchal in a way. And the community, the people, the Ugandans still see associate authority with male. With male,
yeah, right, yeah. I think that's the when it comes to the African component of it, I think that's the biggest part of it. In Africa, it's about the patriarch, and when that means core leadership, and to a great extent, I think most African electorates would always go for a male because of the mindset and what culture has done there. Yeah. However, we have women in that part of the world where if they were given the opportunity, they would do a great job. Now, I've seen some of them who have been given opportunity and they've messed up. I must say, messed up big time, more than the guys. But there are a lot of leaders we have there who have done extremely great work as women.
Right.
Dr. Okonjo-Iweala is one I always. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is one I always remember every time I think of when it comes to global leadership. And now I think she's with the World Health Organization or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or she's with the World Trade Organization. But I know she's one of the big ones, IMF, one of those big ones. Mm-hmm. And she's doing great work. She was Minister of Finance in our country, in Nigeria, back in the day. And she was a real groundbreaker. She did great stuff. Yeah. Go ahead.
I admire her, but I also met, former President Sirleaf. I think she did great. So we have had, examples, good examples. Actually, I think she was the first woman president on the continent.
Okay. Wow.
And I was so fortunate to meet her when I was with my babies. So I got
that was inspirational to them also to inspire them.
Right. But overall, yeah, we have a long way to go as a continent.
Wow. Okay. Well, let me ask. Someone asked a question. I think it's only fair to ask the questions. The person says, "Do you think some Western countries still struggle with healthcare affordability despite the advanced systems?"
Absolutely, 110%. And the United States is one good example. We have, for example, where I live in Massachusetts, has some of the best hospitals, not just in the country, but in the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But access to healthcare is so expensive. And this is by design because it's all based on insurance. And insurance companies set the tone for, costing. And many people who are not high income earners or who don't have stable, well-paying jobs with health insurance, they're struggling. Out-of-pocket insurance is damn expensive. And for new people who have just come in without jobs, some of us have gone through this process, it's damn expensive. You cannot access healthcare. If you're lucky enough, you'll get on, for example, Massachusetts has a program where you insured through the state. But even then, access to who takes that insurance is limited. So you have to deal with distances to whoever takes that insurance. And some things are not covered. So to whoever asked that question, yes. And I think it's even more, it's harder for people in Massachusetts than it might be for someone in Africa, because somewhere in Africa or back home, your relative might send you remittances, money.
Right. To take care of yourself. Yep.
But here, you're really on your own because everyone is struggling.
That's so true. That's so true. Mm-hmm. That's so true. Do you think that, what do you think was one of the biggest infrastructure challenges that people face on the African continent when it comes to global health and healthcare systems?
Oh, there isn't a one problem per se, but we don't have up-to-date infrastructure of healthcare. Healthcare is evolving. We're still using systems that were designed to deal, first of all, with populations that were lower in numbers back in the days. And even when we upgrade equipment, we don't have the technical expertise to service the equipment. So we are depending on the Western world to maintain it for us at high costs. So there is the cost involved in upgrading equipment, but also maintaining equipment. And then the training, we don't have the proper workforce. Even those who are well-trained are moving to the more developed countries because they're higher incomes out there. So it's it's so many things that are happening. And also, just in terms of the community, there is very limited awareness about disease. And so if people are not aware, then they can't go for screening. And then there is myths about screenings and hospitals. And I'll give you an example, Ike. For example, if there is high increases of, incidences of cancer, and then people are going to one center where that is going to treat cancers, what's going to happen? if they're late diagnosed, they're going to die there. You know, then what the community will do, it will start associating that place with death. Because by the time they go there, they're in the late stages.
Yes. And so that's it. Or if you go to that place, you're going to die. You go to that place.
That's going to keep other people in the village from going to that place, because everyone who goes there dies. So as people working in the healthcare, we have to understand all these different dynamics and work on solutions that, first of all, will take the fear away. And then when we talk about just people going to the hospital, they only have 10 minutes with a doctor. And in Africa, we treat doctors like gods, right? Someone goes to the doctor, they read their result and say, hey, you have cancer. And the doctor has to move on to the next patient. What's going to happen to that person? You haven't had any counselor with them to help them process. So you've thrown this thing in there, and then there is panic. Their whole life is panic. And they start getting information from their neighbors. When they told them, and then they misinterpret what cancer. Then they think all cancers are the same. They go for all the same herbal medicines. They go for, it's chaotic. So we have to just look at healthcare system as a system and not just as one component.
Wow. Look at healthcare as a system and not just as one component. And I think the issue of misinformation is so key in the third world countries, especially continents like Africa. I mean, when you say Africa is not a country, Africa is like
54 countries.
Exactly. It's a big, so just for those of us who don't know, right? Hint. But at the end of the day, it cuts across. I think if we can have a lot of preventive programs put in place, people can change their lifestyles and the way we eat. I mean, our food generally is healthy and good because it's mostly organic. But the challenge we normally have is how to pan it out to make sure that the big man at home thinks eating canned food shows a sign of wealth. And so they go to supermarkets and they buy all these canned foods that are full of sodium and everything else. And the poor man stays at home and eats food from the farm, but he's eating the healthy food. It's a big mess. So we just... Is
it organic anymore?
Huh?
Is it organic anymore?
Well, I don't know about here, but I know there, chances are it could be organic.
Is it?
Depending on what the fertilizers are, what chemicals have been put inside the stuff they're using.
With the new varieties.
It's amazing. I don't know. We're in a different world, and there's a lot of diseases out there. But this is Women's Day, so let's just take the next couple of minutes and just talk about issues pertaining to women. Relationships.
Oh God.
He says, "Oh God." What do you think is the biggest challenge most women have in relationships?
I think many of us women feel we don't have much of a say in terms of making decisions, because decisions are based not just on us, but on our children.
So, in other words, if a woman wants to leave a relationship and she has kids, she can't leave because she's unhappy. She will stay because of the kids. Is that what you're trying to say? Something like that?
Yeah. But I'm not saying that that's everyone's scenario. I mean,
I know. I'm just saying most cases. Yeah.
Some people are really happy, and every family dynamic is different. So there are different dynamics, but just in the context of what
barriers and challenges.
When I look at looking in the global context, we are seeing so many. It's a pattern and a trend of the advocates. What do they say? Oh, there are women who are experiencing domestic violence. There are women who have don't have income because they are stay-at-home mothers, and others are they stay at home because society doesn't want their men don't want them to interact. And then it also happens with healthcare, because if they are sick, they need money to go for health, and they have to be good so that they can access, so it's so many factors.
There's so many factors.
Yeah.
And we can stay here all day discussing this topic. I know I'll have to bring you back for the sake of time. There's something we do here, and thank you so much for the information you shared so far. There's something we do on the BNS podcast. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we're here every Saturday like clockwork, come rain, come sunshine. If I'm not here, my co-host Obi will step in. And it's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to all our socials, follow us, and join us. We've been doing this for almost 5 years, and God has been such a blessing to enhance the impact on what we do globally. We have folks from Qatar, folks from the UAE who follow us, people in Africa, people here in America, the United Kingdom. So I'm just a privileged guy. I never wanted to do this, Vivian, but I've been doing it for 4 years and 4.5 years nonstop. So yeah, I thank God for it. But let me ask you the drop-off question. This drop-off question is a question that the last guest had asked just before they left. It says, okay, what does progress mean to you? Our last guest, who we had, didn't know who you were, wasn't expecting whether you were male or female, didn't know who was coming up, had the question, and they want to know, what does progress mean to you? After you answer that question, you will then ask the question to our next guest, whoever the person may be, and they will answer it too.
Progress to me is taking one step forward from where you were in any process.
Progress is taking one step forward ahead in any one step forward in any.
Yeah.
Okay, also. Okay, that's good. That's very simplified. See, that's the facilitator you talking, right? Keeping it very simple, right? Okay, so before we ask you a question, I want to find out, is there anything you're working with? Anything you're working on? Anything you want to share with the audience? And I know you have your own podcast. Can you talk about it a little bit so they can check you out and see what you're doing? I always try to give people a platform for them to share what they're doing.
Absolutely. So I have a show called Healthcare Blind Spots, where it's a platform that brings together different research, anyone really in healthcare, to share about what they're doing is in the context of bridging the healthcare blind spots that we have been talking about. So that some of that is in the studio, but also global health conferences. So that's where we met some of these people. But in parallel to that, we're working on an innovative cancer financing platform that is going to bring different stakeholders together globally, that is going to be focused on diaspora as well. One element, it's innovative, but one element is on diaspora remittances. How do we structure them in order to support families to pay for cancer treatments and care in a way that is measurable? So that's part of the Global Health Catalyst, which you can find at globalhealthcatalyst.summit.org, but also with AFREC, working alongside Ike to really bring awareness around esophageal cancer in ways that will lift the burden or reduce the burden of incidences on the continent of Africa. So, and I'm a producer, host, and a consultant.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you. All right, as we wrap up the show, this is your time. Ask the question, and it's a wrap. What's the question for the guests coming in next? What question do you want to find out for them?
What inspired you to do what you do?
What inspired you to do what you do? And on that note, it's a wrap. Thank you, Vivian, for making out time to be with us on the podcast. We look forward to seeing you, to all our guests, wherever you are, to all the ladies and all the women out there. Again, happy Women's Day. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. I can tell my people are telling me, make sure you bring her back. I said, okay, I've seen her 4 times now. They say, make sure you bring her back. So we'll bring you back again at some point to discuss other issues. Thank you so much, my friend, for all that you do. God bless you. And to all our guests and all our audience, thank you again. As we wrap up the show, take care and God bless. In our 3 famous words, love, peace, and more grace. See you next weekend.